Boys and girls, I'm so happy that you're here with me today because I know you're not able to be out at the flower fields this spring. I'm so happy to be able to bring to you Kathy, who's going to talk about vermicomposting with worms, and George, who's going to teach all about growing ranunculus. We hope to see you next spring.
Kathy, I'm here at the glorious Flower Fields in Carlsbad, and I'm going to talk to you for just a little while about taking care of our planet Earth. Making sure we have nice clear sky, we have good soil for our plants to grow in, and clean water for us and for our animals. Now, we can do that by practicing what we call the 3 R's. That's reduce, reuse, recycle. Now we're talking about trash here. We want to make sure that we reduce the amount of trash that we put out every week for the trash man, because we don't want to have a lot of trash going out to the landfill. One of the ways we can do that is to reuse things. For example, when I use a jar of salsa, I don't throw it in the trash can. I wash it out and I use it another way. I reuse it. I usually put salad dressing when I make salad dressing in there. Or you could put a collection, your shells or your button collection. You can reuse your clothes. You know, when you get too big for them, give them to your younger brothers or sisters or cousins, or take it down to the DAV so somebody else can use them. Same thing with your toys. Never throw toys out. Give them to somebody who can use them again. Now, the 3rd R is recycle, and you probably all know that word because we recycle at school and we recycle at home. We can use that same glass jar, but instead of going to reuse it at our house, we put it in the recycling bin, and then people come and pick it up and take it to a factory, and they actually melt that glass down and make something new out of it. So we're going to reduce, reuse, and recycle. Now, I'm going to talk about the best recycler in the world, or at least I think so. And this is a little animal that takes garbage. You know, like the potato peels that you don't eat, or the leftover lettuce, or your apple core. And this little animal turns it into compost. Now, compost is this lovely black, dark soil. And farmers and gardeners love compost. It's rich and has lots of nutrition for our plants, and it's kind of light and fluffy and helps the soil. So we want as much compost as we can get. Now, this little animal is a worm, and it's a special kind of worm. It's called a red wiggler. It's not the kind you go fishing with. Now, I have this picture. It's a little scary. Don't get frightened. My worms are not that big. Oh my gosh, that would be really scary. And this picture looks funny because it shows you the inside of the worm's body. Now, do worms have arms and legs? Of course not. Do they have a nose? No, they don't have a nose. But they need air just like you and I do, because they're a living creature. They breathe through their skin. Isn't that strange? And their skin has to stay wet. If it dries out, the poor worm can't breathe, and then they would die. Do you think they have teeth? Nope, no teeth. Well, then how do they chew their food? I'll show you. First of all, the worm has this, what looks like a nose, and it's actually its top lip, and it acts like a finger, and it pushes the food into its mouth, and the food goes down into the body. Oh, there's its brain, itty bitty brain, great big body. Goes past its brain, it goes past its hearts. We have one heart. They have 5 pairs of hearts. Keeps on going, and it gets to this muscle right here called the gizzard. Now, worms have gizzards because they don't have teeth. And the gizzards are really strong muscle, and they crunch and they mush up all the food and get it all ready for the rest of the body to take out the good nutrition. Then the mushed up food goes to the intestines. We have intestines. And that's where all the good nutrition goes out to the body. And then there's always a little leftover. So it comes on out the other end. It's poop. We don't usually say that word, do we? And gardeners don't say that word either. We use the word castings. And that's what I showed you earlier. These are castings. Rich, rich compost that we can put on our plants. Now, I'm going to show you a real worm, or hopefully a couple of them. They were tricky. They sometimes don't want to come out. They really don't like the sunshine. Oh, there they are. Come on out, guys. Whoops. And here we've got one. Here's a red wiggler. He's not, oh, he's just starting to look around. Why am I out here in the sunshine? It's scary. And he probably doesn't like my hand because it's dry. If you're gonna hold a worm, you wanna get your hands wet so they feel more comfortable. Let's see if we can find another one in here. Oh, here's a little one. Oh wait, that's a good one. He's wiggly. There's a couple more. Red wigglers. Now, we call this vermicomposting. Verma is the Latin word for worm, so we're making compost with worms. And you could do it in your backyard. It's really simple. Have your mom and dad go online and look it up. So, thanks for listening, and you're gonna hear my friend George in a minute. Bye-bye.
I'm George, and I am here at the glorious flower fields. And as you can see behind me, the flowers don't care what's going on. They're up there growing and looking pretty every day. So I'd like to talk to you about what 1 year here at the flower fields is like, because we're a working farm. That means people come to work here every day, and they tend to the flowers and make them grow. Well, the flower field year doesn't begin in January when your year does, or in September when your school year does. It actually begins in the summertime. And it begins in the summertime when we prepare the soil, because we're a working farm here. We have to produce a crop to sell. So we start by preparing the soil, one of the big three: soil, sun, and water, to make plants grow. So this is what we do in the summertime. In the summertime, they roll out great big sheets of plastic on the soil, and it gets hot under that soil, and that heat kills fungus and bacteria and bugs that could grow in the soil and hurt the plants. So that's where they start in July and August. I wrote those big sheets of plastic. Then it's time to plant. And we take our ranunculus seeds, and you can see from the package here, and I keep them in the package because if I brought them out, they just blow away. And the ranunculus seeds are very tiny. They look like little bitty tiny pieces of oatmeal, even smaller. And if I had them out here, the wind would just blow them away. So what they do is they mix them with sand and water, and that's what they plant. And they start planting in September and October. And they go back and forth on our flower fields up here. 50 acres back and forth for September and October for 2 months, and plant all of the seeds that are going to grow the ranunculus that are going to come out later. By November, we start to get small little plants that we call seedlings, and we start to water with overhead watering. Now we have a special watering system here. It's brand new this year, that has very fine water so it doesn't hurt the seeds in the small plants. It goes back and forth. But as soon as possible, when the plants start to grow, we convert to what's called drip irrigation, with large hoses and small little plastic pipes that drop the water out 1 drop at a time, because the last thing we want to do here is waste water. So the seedlings start growing in November and December. By January, the fields behind me are all green with plants. No flowers yet. Then the flowers start coming in February. And when they start to show, those flowers are up there and they just start to go one by one, and they really then fill in what you see here. So by March, I think that's when the flower fields open, because that's when we can start to bring people in, because the flowers are what they want to see. They come in March and April, and I'm here at the very end of March, and the start of April is tomorrow. And the flowers come in, and they fill in the flower fields with all the pretty colors that you see up here, all 13 colors that we have here, growing in March, April, and then 2 weeks into May. Our last day of opening is on Mother's Day, the second Sunday in May. And then the flowers start to do something that you might find sad, and that is they do start to die. And as the plants die, they actually die back. But now there's something second that's going to happen here. Our first crop that we sold were the cut flowers. But now we have something else that's going to happen. And that is because the bottom part of the plant, the part that grows under the soil, the root on a ranunculus is special. It's what we call a tuber root. And it's like a bulb, and we're actually going to harvest those and sell those. And these are much better to plant. This is what people will buy and actually plant, because notice they're not small and tiny like those seeds that blow away. They're much easier. You can put them in your hand and plant them in the soil. So that is what will finally be there. Now, in order to harvest those, we have a special machine here. It's the harvester. I like to call it the tuber scooper, because that's what it does. It scoops up the tubers. They take those tubers, we package them, they go to nurseries around the world. Now, you like big numbers? We grow 70 million Tecolote giant ranunculus here every year. Of those 70 million, we pick 7 million and sell those flowers. Then after the flowers have grown and gone to seed, then we scoop and package and sell 3 million tubers. So those are our big numbers, and that's how we make our money here at the Flower Fields. And that takes you actually through an entire year, because we harvest those tubers in May and June, and then we start all over again, back to preparing the soil to plant and grow again. Thank you for listening, and we hope you've enjoyed this. We're sorry you're not here at the Flower Fields, but this is the best thing we can do besides that.
Hi, I'm Farmer John January here at the Flower Fields in Carlsbad, California. I'm going to sing Dirt Made My Lunch. Dirt made my lunch. Dirt made my lunch. Thank you, dirt. Thanks a bunch for my salad, my sandwich, my milk, and my munch. 'Cause dirt, you made my lunch. You know, dirt is a word that we often use when we talk about the stuff beneath our shoes. It's a place where plants can sink their toes, and in a little while, a garden grows. Dirt made my lunch. Dirt made my lunch. Thank you, dirt. Thanks a bunch for my salad, my sandwich, my milk, and my munch. 'Cause dirt, you made my lunch. A farmer's plow will tickle the ground. The earth has laughed and the wheat is found. Grain is taken and the flour is ground. From making a sandwich to munch down. Dirt made my lunch. Dirt made my lunch. Thank you, dirt. Thanks a bunch for my salad, my sandwich, my milk, and my munch. 'Cause dirt, you made my lunch. You know, a stubby green beard grows upon the land, and out of the soil the grass will stand. And about the hoof it must bow for making milk by way of a what, everybody?
Cow.
Moo. Dirt made my lunch. Everybody, come on. Dirt made my lunch. Thank you, dirt. Thanks a bunch for my salad, my sandwich, my milk, and my munch. 'Cause dirt, you made my lunch. 'Cause dirt, you made my lunch. 'Cause dirt, you made my what?
Lunch.
Lunch.
Brilliant. Thank you.